Beyond the Buckles, real rodeo topics for cowboys and cowgirls.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Young Cattle Company. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Buckles podcast. As with me as always, the gang, man. We got the gang here. We got Blake Skaggs, Nathan Gililland, and Blaine Hart. Man, I want to talk to y'all guys about this episode coming up. This is the episode I've been looking forward to. I've been dying to talk youth rodeo and youth bull riding with none other than Brandon Wren, president of PYRA, ex-president of WCMB, and professional rodeo announcer. So he's kind of does it all. We just call him the mustache.
The mustache man.
That's it.
Thanks for having me.
How you been, man?
I've been great. It's been awesome.
You've been on the road a lot. Been traveling.
Lots of events on the road. Been doing all kinds of events all over the country. It's been a busy, blessed year.
I bet. I recently found out that you went full time announcing. You're all in.
All in. Chips are in the center of the table.
Oh boy! So you got your PRCA card.
Yes,
going
sir.
pro rodeos. What about your PBR? You got into that yet?
I've got a handful of PBRs lined up.
Good.
And so we're doing some of those and amateur rodeos as well. Hey, you got to do them all.
Man, all I can say is it's about damn time they woke up and got you in there. Because I like listening to you talk and get going.
I kind of get tired of listening to him talk, honestly.
We're supposed to be kind of nice on this episode, Blake. Come on now.
I'm not gonna lie, it does pump me up
when you hear Brandon talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you got to treat them all the same. It don't matter if it's amateur rodeo or miniature rodeo or the PBR World Finals or NFR. You got to do them all the same.
Well, especially in youth rodeo, you got to build the kids that make it feel like it's that atmosphere is there. That
the hype,
get it
man.
going, the hype.
Got to get it there.
That's Brandon.
You got to get it there.
I will give that to Brandon. He does a great job. Don't matter what level he's at announcing. He does it all for the professionals to the kids, and he don't change. He don't change. The guy don't change from if he's at a youth rodeo or if he's at PRCA. He treats them kids just like they're 18-year-old pro athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just did the YBR final. That was
Yep.
How many times you done that?
This was my 6th year.
6th year. And how does this one rate towards the last 6 overall? The stock and the riders and
Stock was okay. Stock was
really
good for all the kids. This year there was more kids. There was like 35 or 40 more kids than normal there.
Yeah.
So
they had about 400?
It was like 389, 390, something like that. There was a lot more from Mexico, a big team from Mexico this year. Wow. They brought a huge team from there and a big team from Australia. So
they opened the border, huh?
Open the border up. Yep. That's what they told me.
Thanks, Biden. We got more bull riders for the YBR.
Exactly. That's what they said. They said this year was easier to get across the border than any year before. And that's exactly what the man told me.
It really doesn't.
That's what he told me. I mean, it was just easier for them to get across. Last year, we get right there 2 days before it starts.
Did they walk across or were they wet when they got there?
Oh, God. I don't know about all that. But last year, there was 5 kids that got stuck at the border. They wouldn't let them cross.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that. They got stuck, and in Australia, with all there's still restrictions on the COVID stuff and all that
in Australia
coming over. It's hard to get over here because I know they're going to hate me for this, but the Borgello,
I can't pronounce it right.
I can't either. They're going to hate me, but I love them guys. Great people. I met them a couple years ago at the WC finals and during the team deal and stuff. Man, they're awesome people, and I'm glad to see them being able to come back over here.
Yep, they were here this year. They were here at the YBR this year, and last year they couldn't make it because of those restrictions, and they fight hard in Australia for them kids.
Yep, they do. I keep up with them on Facebook and stuff and social media, and there's a couple of kids down there that are dadgum salty.
Salty.
Really good.
Kai Hamilton is one of them. Kai Hamilton is one of them that made it through the deal, and now he's on the big show.
Yeah. So, little backstory here. How did you get started announcing? Because I know that wasn't. I'm sure you as a kid you wasn't like
pure
I'm gonna grow up and be a rodeo announcer.
Pure D accident. I tried riding bulls and never was that great. I got on a bunch of bulls. I was a bull getter owner.
Yeah.
But loved it. I come from the city. I wasn't a cowboy. I wasn't didn't have no country life other than my uncle had a dairy farm and.
You watched Urban Cowboy and
a couple of times. Oh yeah. I dress like that sometimes. But I just love the sport. A buddy of mine got me into it, and I went and rode some bulls and loved it. I just wasn't good. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try to be a bullfighter. So I started fighting bulls and wasn't too shabby. I didn't think for the time. I did pretty good, but I didn't like getting hit. And so I started working back pins and it just kind of hanging out. And a buddy of mine, his name's Brett Weldon, and he lives in Guthrie, Oklahoma. I'd help him set up, and then I'd go to the back pins and sort bulls. And he said, man, you need to buy a sound system and get after it. It took him 2 years to get that going. And he finally got my wife talked in. They bought behind my back. They bought some speakers and a laptop and some stuff.
Nice.
And I started doing the Junior Bull Riding Association, bull rides in Kellyville, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I done like 6 or 8 of them shows, and out of them 6 or 8, I booked 10 or 12 more. I booked this, that, and the other, and here we are 18 years later, and we're rocking and rolling.
And still a sissy, just like always.
Well, you'll have that from time to time.
Scared to get hit by a little bull.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey,
Well, I can tell you that's why I rode so good is because I didn't want to fight them.
No.
I mean, a bull rider gets on 1, maybe 2 bulls a night. A
Yeah.
bullfighter gets in front of all of them, 45 or 50, and
Every-
The thing is,
and
though,
they're going to get hit.
Yeah, it's a matter of
but
time.
bullfighter's guaranteed paycheck. You don't ride your bull.
Yeah,
So, I
true.
mean,
That's what I like
You-
about the announcing world.
you got
Yeah.
guaranteed
Yeah,
You don't have to
paycheck.
get hit.
usually
You don't
up
have to get
high
on.
in that
Nothing.
crow's nest, and you can just jabber and run your mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we do on this show. We just run our mouth.
So,
Da-da-da.
so when did your balls drop to get that deep of a voice and that pretty of a voice?
Really? Really?
Was it about the time you got
14.
the mustache?
14, when the mustache come in, the voice got really deep.
Boy, I know that it is a great
As we
voice
see
for
yours is
announcing.
finally coming in.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I'm finally
patchy,
growing
ain't
up.
it? It's kind of patchy.
I'm growing up, guys. Give me a break.
One of these days, you can start giving legitimate mustache rides.
Yeah,
'Cause right now, it's
With the
it's not
baddies.
there yet, buddy.
with all the baddies. That's,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. So where have you been, Brandon? Where have you been this year? Where's the big
I
places?
have been all over the country.
I know
this
you've done
year.
some BFOs.
Done the BFOs last year, done a few of them. I've done some UBFs this year on the
Okay.
bullfighting world. Probably the highlight this year, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I got to do the Bob Tallman Invitational team roping.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Out
I
in
was
Reno?
in Reno, Nevada.
Okay.
And I was like a little schoolgirl. I mean, I was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's nobody greater than Bob Tallman in my opinion.
No.
And we'd kick it off. He had some TV stuff that morning and hadn't seen Bob yet. I've known him for a couple of years. And I turned around and coming down the stairs was Bob Tallman and Bob Feist. And
Wow.
I mean, it was like, holy cow. Like,
I've made
do,
it.
Like an
do I
angel
stop
walking
now?
down.
Do I drop the mic? Do I run? What I do? And we get through the first round, and both of them said, man, what an awesome job. And Bob Feist talked about Bob Tallman, and that's where he got his start and where things kind of took off. And the highlight of the whole week was Bob Tallman said, until you die, you can have the Bob Tallman Invitational team roping. So
Wow.
I thought that was
awesome.
That's
That's
probably the best
badass.
compliment.
Yeah.
Best
That's awesome.
compliment you could ever have in life. And
In the announcing
it was
world,
cool.
anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they introduced me one night at the rodeo pre-show before anybody to say, our announcer for the Bob Tallman's here, Brandon Wren, and to me that's been
is
you
cool,
could do the
man.
NFR 50 times over and the PBR World Finals 1,000 times, and that means more to me than anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Getting that recognition from the best.
Oh,
Bob
yes.
Tallman. I mean, wow.
And Bob Tallman and Bob
I
Feist,
mean,
that's two of the
wow.
greats. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the legends right there.
Yeah, for sure.
And you, I know you're keeping the road hot. You're going to Coffeyville tomorrow.
We'll go to
You got
Coffeyville
LJ's
tomorrow. LJ Jenkins bull riding tour stop. We kick off the pro rodeo there and be with Dustin Jenkins, LJ's brother, and
What a goofball.
Yeah.
he's
What a
special on a
goofball.
couple
Love
of
him to
different
death,
levels.
but a straight goofball.
Yeah, he's special on a couple of different levels.
Yeah,
but
yeah. He rode the short bus, I think.
oh yeah, but
Window liquor.
yeah.
he wears
had
a
to have
helmet. I
He
seen
does
it. I
wear a
seen it.
helmet.
I seen
Need to
it.
get
I
a piece
seen
of
it.
plexiglass to put on the
I
front.
did.
for
I
him.
seen him. He was in Sykeston and at the bullfights up there. He had the helmet on, and I was like, "That's very fitting for him.
Very fitting.
He needs a
Very
helmet.
fitting for
He
Dustin.
definitely needs a helmet."
So where I first met Brandon is 3-4 years ago at the Mini Bull World Finals,
Yep.
and I seen how Brandon presented himself, how he basically ran the association and did his thing, and I looked up to Brandon and become he's one of my best friends now, and if I ever have any questions or want some advice, he's my man I call and talk to. And so talking about that in the youth world, how's youth rodeo bull riding going for you? Are you staying busy or?
It is a job all in its own. The youth bull riding world is probably the most difficult thing we do. Announcing rodeo is way easier, but it's going good. We've changed some things up this year. Started a new association.
The PYRA.
The PYRA, and it's going pretty good. I mean, it's, to me, the platforms out there, there's some great platforms out there for kids, but just like we kind of kicked this deal off, that we got to get them kids to that next level to get them to those bigger shows. And for me, I'm all about the fundamentals. I didn't have that opportunity when I was riding bulls. Maybe I could have been a good bull rider if we had the platforms that are out there today.
Right.
Because back then you were getting on, Booger Red or Willie Mandel's.
Yeah.
The bulls are taken to the IFR finals, and that's what you were getting on as a youth bull rider. And we wasn't prepared for that. The group of guys I was, I mean, there were some highlight guys that kind of flew out of that. Bobby Capps, Mike Collins, that kind of moved on, went to the PBR, and when it kind of kicked off. But for me, I didn't have that opportunity. And so the youth world, when I say it's a job within itself, it's a job putting together a set of bulls for them kids, the fundamental style of them bulls. They don't need to be getting on the rankest bulls in the world. They need to learn all the steps leading up to it. And that's what I like about the rodeo announcing side with it, is we can get them kids in front of cameras, and we can get them kids in front of interviews, and treat them kids like they are J.B. Mooney or Cody Hart or whoever, and get those kids prepared so when they step that next level, they already know what they expect. And they're mentally, physically, and all the abilities, their athleticism, they're all there leading into those bigger, badder bulls when they get older.
And we know you're in for the kids. I mean, last year, you turned in the most sanctioning money and one of the ones that put on the most events.
Put on 28 events last year.
Yeah.
And
just
you also
in the mini world.
And you also are a professional rodeo announcer. So people can't not
and
say.
I had a full-time job then too.
Yeah.
And
that's
people,
true.
And people can't say that you're not in it for the kids, because if you didn't want to screw with the kids, you have plenty of opportunities.
Oh, I ain't made no money yet. I mean, there's no money made in it.
Pro rodeo, but you stick with the kids. You put on tons of events. I mean, I got my following from Missouri comes to you. You got a following from 5, 6, 7 states that come to you.
Wait a minute. He is right there around Tulsa, and you've got Kansas and Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Come on,
all pretty close.
Come on.
Right.
But no, I just giving you a little shit. Yeah, you just
but no, you definitely are for the kids, in my opinion. If not, why screw with it?
I seen the gap. COVID's why we bought, I hate using that word. I hate that word, but COVID's why I bought mini bulls. I didn't have time for no mini bulls. And COVID hits, they shut down the world thinking, Armageddon's coming in. And when they done that, LJ Jenkins, he was putting on these little Sunday fun days and these fraternities. And I was announcing those, and I said, hey, if you're not going to shut down like the rest of the world, what about the kiddos? He goes, what about them? I was like, man, they ain't got nowhere to go either. I mean, everybody's shutting them down, and you can't go put on an event nowhere. And he's like, man, you want to put on some mini bull rides or whatever? Come on.
Right.
So within 3 weeks, I'd bought 30 head of mini bulls.
Wow.
Just get in with both feet there, Brandon. Don't worry about it.
Just jump in.
If you want to jump in, just jump head first. And so we started putting them deals on, and I didn't know anything about other than the YBR I'd been announcing and a few little junior deals here and there. And so we kind of got rocking and rolling and jumped into, then it was the IMBA, and jumped into that kind of, full throttle and started putting on events. And, I mean, middle of COVID, the world shut down. We bucking 25, 30, 40 head of kids. And so when I seen that, my wife really took to it. And she's like, this is something I like. So she owns the mini bulls. And I just make it, and I just make it happen, And so it's grown from there, and it just keeps getting better. And to me, I tell all the announcers coming up that want to visit, if I want to give them some advice, ask any advice, don't forget where you come from is the biggest deal. And for me, that's, if we don't build the legacy with the kids of today, we will not have rodeo in the future.
Nothing.
It's not going to happen. We're never going to have them in the future. Because today they got too much stuff to do. They can get on Snapchat, they can get on gaming and all this other crap that's going on in the world. And you got to instill that legacy. So if I can do that through your youth rodeo, that's what I'm going to do. And there's some great people come out of that youth rodeo in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I mean, we could sit here for hours and talk about the kids that have moved on to the big show, whether it be PRCA or PBR, that come through that youth side of things, and I want to be a part of that.
Well, as you've seen them coming through the youth deal, what makes a good youth rodeo or a youth bull riding? What What is it that makes it great, and what can we do to make it better?
I think what makes it great, if you got the right person, is the fundamental style of bulls that they're bringing for the kids. Don't bring the ABBI rejects. Don't bring the the old has-been bulls they're still going to jerk them kids down. Build the fundamentals first.
Build confidence in the kids.
Build the confidence. Build the timing. All the ins and outs of everything they need to learn. Get that in them youth years. You're never going to be a world champion if you don't work at it.
Stock is one.
Stock, I would say stock would be the biggest.
Producers,
events that are in it for the kids.
Yep.
I would say that would be number 2. Number 3, I mean, it's just the money's out there for them kids now. It takes money to go up and down the road.
But is it? That's my question, because I've got 2 kids that go to WC and the PYs and stuff, and I'm not. I mean, it's hard to. It takes a lot of money to go up and down the road, and you pay $65, $75 entry fees, and only 50 of that goes back in the pot, and then then you got association fees and member dues and like a lot of associations now, not necessarily the WC or PY or any of that. They want you to go out and sell tickets. They want the riders to go out and sell tickets to help buy their stuff at the end of the deal.
Like their
and
best.
I mean, I think my opinion of it, and you can give me yours. I think it's there's not enough money in it for the kids to keep them going, to keep the parents hollering them consistently to go to them deals, because it costs so much to go to them. And then, I think we should get more sponsors involved in it to help pave the way for them kids, to keep the associations out of the kids' pockets.
I've been in 4 associations now when it comes to mini bull riding world, and I can go sell an amateur rodeo to a sponsor and get sponsors easier than I can for kids. You think it would be reversed?
I have the same problem.
And so when you go to them sponsors, you talk to them about what's going on and about these kids. They're not worried about it. I think society is switched over, and they don't really care about the kids anymore. Just my opinion. I have fought. I probably have, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I work my butt off, and I try to have more events with that money. So like Alva's got that money. The Creek Nation puts on, helps me put on the res games, and try to put those events. The Hui Junior Patriots, we're getting add more money every day. I think the more we get in front of those people, shove it in their face, say, look at these kids. Okay, this is the future of our country, the future of our sport, the future of everything.
Yeah.
If we don't pay them kids or help them kids down the road, what's society going to be when those kids are our age?
Yeah.
And so slowly it's coming. I mean, we're picking up a little sponsor here. I mean, Blake can tell you that.
You think there's too many youth associations?
Yes. I think there is.
I do too.
I always said that I'd never be that parent that throwed a fit. I mean, that's why there's 40 million churches in the world, right? You get mad and we start up our own little doctrine, right? And so I said I would never be that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that guy now.
Yeah. I think there's just too many. I think it's just flooded the market. And it's just like big bull riding nowadays is, a lot of people goes, well, there's no bull riders out there. Yes, there is. Well, they say, well, there was more bull riders. We didn't have a problem filling the books 20 years ago. Well, 20 years ago, we had 500 bull riders. But what they didn't have back then was 700 bull ridings.
Yeah,
exactly. A weekend, Exactly. And then nowadays, you've got the same amount of riders, but you've got double the amount of events.
Take this weekend. Take this week. There's 9 events within an hour and a half at one location. My event Friday and Saturday, there's 9 events. I mean, there's only so many contestants. You can't drag them in, or you got too many things going on. Yeah. So yes, there is way too many associations. And I said I'd never be that guy. I'd never start one, and I did. I did that, well, and here we are.
Here's another thought. So the PPR is all about bull riders, bull riding. They're professional bull riders, and to keep their future going, shouldn't they jump in and maybe have a junior PBR?
Yes, sponsor the events that they believe in.
Yeah,
right.
That will help them along.
And not the Leal deal. That was an invite only deal. They handpicked the kids there. You've got to have some kind of qualification system. You obviously want the better kids there too, but
you also got to
you could have a junior PBR, whatever you want to call it, and they could invest in their future too. The PBR could.
especially with the team stuff they got going on now,
yeah.
and the all the stuff. You got colleges looking at these kids to go to scholarships. They could give us scholarships right into the teams deal, into their combines and the stuff they're doing with the PBR teams, which I've been watching a lot of here lately. Yeah. Going back last year and looking at it and seeing the changes with it, because I see an avenue for the kids to have an opportunity if we get in front of the powers that be, talk it over, and figure it out, because we got to keep those kids going up and down the road, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I've helped pay entry fees. I've paid for finals fees for kids because the world right now sucks. I'll just be straight up. It sucks. The fuel prices are $4 something a gallon for diesel, and so if I got the money and can help them kids, I invest. Everybody needs to invest. If you're in the buck and bull industry, you need to be investing in the kids.
And I just wonder why the top dog ain't doing it. PBR. Why they're not?
I don't know.
Why they're not investing in that youth side? And
they haven't got me in front of the right person yet.
Well,
that's the deal.
Well, I'm sure some of the PBR guys, powers to be, are watching this show. So, hey, get off your asses and help the kids out and invest in your daggum future, and start a junior PBR or something for this thing. So next year or 10 years down from the road, we've got quality bull riders, which they get a quality event, a better product.
Yep, exactly what it is.
Yep. So you go ahead, Blake.
No, I was just going to talk about now that you recently got your PRCA card last year. So does the youth part now? Are you having to cut back on putting youth rodeos on because you're going harder? Or are you just working them in?
I've got some people around me that are great, and so if I've got to be gone, they step up and take the reins and run with it. This was my first year to go to Res Games. We've had it for 3 or 4 years. Right. And, last year I was in New Braunfels. The year before that I was somewhere else, and so I got a group of people that are willing to step up and take the reins and put those events on. So no, I'm not. I have no intentions of slowing it. I don't care if I'm booked every day of the week, because that's the future. Okay. So I no, it ain't slowed me down at all.
Well, like me and you were talking, Cody, the other day is, all these seems like they're wanting to give them buckets, give them feed buckets, this
that's
and that.
Stupid.
Why not put the money towards giving the kids back their money? Because good and well, it's coming out of the parents' pockets, the entry fee money.
Oh, yeah. What they hold out with the member fees and the association fees and all this. If I wanted to, when you add all them fees up and what you pay out over the year to get to the finals to win them prizes, you've probably got $10,000 invested in all that, or
you could have bought you 1,000 buckets.
Yeah,
Why not go? Why not go get the 4-H?
Yeah, I could go to, if I wanted to get my kids a saddle, I can go down there to Teskey's in Texas and get a $600 saddle for them and put whatever I want on the damn thing.
Because that saddle ain't
and
$10,000.
What the hell does a bull rider need a saddle for anyway?
Exactly.
Get them a bull rope. Get them some spurs. Get them a vest. Invest in a college degree or something. Give them some kind of college.
Help us down the road.
Get colleges
sponsorship or something. Yeah, scholarship or something. Get it in there, and then what's left, then get it back to put the money back in the kids' pockets, so them kids can still go up and down the road. Because I know a few kids now that are making enough money rodeoing that their parents are not having to pay for it.
Put in. Right.
Yep, and because it costs the parents money to go up and down the road, and it's by the time you buy your bull rope, the shaps, and the kids, it seems like every year and a half, 2 years, you're buying a brand new pair of shaps because it done growed out of the old ones.
Yep.
And vest.
We got a hand-me-down system in my family.
Yeah.
I think Clancy had some, and then Briar, and then now Blaine's riding with. But they start out riding with my old ones. That's how small I used to be.
You still ain't too big.
I can't fit in them no more.
No.
No, I tried the vest on not too long ago, and I had to unvelcro the whole damn thing. I look like a black marshmallow.
Oh, God.
Hey, for all your logistical needs, give Sutherland Logistics a call.
So what do you think? How could we make it better in the youth world to get the kids seen more and get them out there? Like what can producers do to better things?
I think that's a good question. What is the answer?
Yeah.
Me personally, I think the answer is keep pushing forward, get them kids in front of more people.
Right.
Like events in Vegas and events in Fort Worth, and getting maybe the TV crews involved. You know, I mean, the Cowboy Channel's covered a little bit when it comes to the kids, but there's a marketing value there on the TV side of things if they'll market it correctly. Yeah. And I think the biggest problem is right now they're like, oh, we got all these pro rodeos, 100 rodeos in 100 days. Yeah. We got all this other stuff going on. But if they'd just give them kids a little bit of a limelight, just a little. Yeah.
They could do 99 big rodeos and
one mini rodeo.
Yeah, one mini rodeo.
And then those sponsors out there will see that. When you go talk, you get in front of them that way. Right. Going and talking to those guys, you know, I've talked to I'm blue in the face with some of them big names, you know, big names in the sport. I mean, they'll sponsor me, but you won't sponsor a kid? I mean, let's get these kids the sponsor dollars, get that money, that added money, get that up. So these kids are coming here riding for stupid amounts of money. Yeah. That way they have the money to go up and down the road. And those sponsorships, maybe we can do an event. My ultimate goal, I've never told anybody in the world this, my ultimate goal is to have a open to the world, free entry fee, and them kids are riding for $10,000 to the champion. That's what I want. I want them kids to leave there with 10 grand. How are you going to get that to work?
Sponsors.
Lots of sponsorships.
Sponsors.
You know, but you do it's not an invitation. It'll be open to the world. We got to buck bulls for 3 days to get down to the final few, and that's what we'll do. Right. But let them kids have that opportunity to ride for the money, because let's talk about timed events for a second. There's 50 million of them, right? There's timed events on every coast to coast. The numbers are different. So we have an event, we got 25, 30 guys, you know? Yeah. Team roping, how many show up?
300.
I mean, 300 or 400 or 500.
You got 600 teams.
And that's the youth. and that's the youth. That's the youth event.
Right.
Yeah.
So our numbers are completely opposite.
Right.
You look at them, Sanch and Smarty, and all them guys are jumping in, and they invested in that, but that's their realm, right? They're team roping guys. The bull riding world has not yet jumped on that bandwagon. They've not jumped in. So we got to keep getting in front of people, getting in front of those TV stations, getting in front of any and everything, podcasts, whatever we can do to talk about the youth world, because, you know, in the Western way of life, we instill not only bull riders or bareback riders or whatever, it's the Western way of life. If we'd go back to the way we run our country in 1776, it'd be a whole different ballgame. You know what I mean? It would be a whole different deal. Right. And so in the Western world, we still pray, we still talk about the flag, we still do all the things that society doesn't anymore.
The original way.
And so if we keep doing that and keep doing it to our youth, we're not just building bull riders. You know, that could be the next president of the United States. That could be the next CEO of a company.
I don't know about Blaine over there.
I'm not that smart.
He's not going to be no politician.
No.
He's a bull rider. He can't be that smart.
No.
I've been whacked in the head and
apparently you don't have to be
smart
smart to be a president.
Well, you know, you'll have that from time to time.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure Blaine's smarter than the president we got right now.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He remembers his name.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And, you know, and in 10 years, there might not be 100 rodeos in the 100 days that they don't start marketing the youth rodeo.
That's my thinking behind it. You know, because we've got to keep it going.
Yeah.
There's always time eventers. There's always going to be time eventers. I mean, we all done it. We've all done it. If you rode bulls once, you've team roped too, because when you get old and you stop, what do? You go team rope.
The other end.
We've all done it. I got buckles on the wall with team ropers on it. But we've got to do something to keep those kids going. And it's avenues like this. We've got to keep getting in front of people. Yeah. Cowboy Channel has stepped up. I mean, you know, Mesquite, they've been doing some stuff at Mesquite and showing the kids. And the last 2 years they've done stuff at Fort Smith. They've showed some throughout the year, you know, little events here and there.
I think they could do a lot more than they're doing.
And there's a lot more they could do.
And the audience, I think, would just eat it up. Like the audience sitting at home, they love that. They love seeing that. The youth ride a mini bull for 6 seconds. A walk trot. They love that.
I had a 2-year-old kid this weekend ride a walk trot bull. Dad held him on there, but the crowd went more crazy then than they did all night long.
One of the first big mini bull ridings I put on was in Wichita Falls with the great George Marshall when he was still alive. It was one of the last events he did in Wichita Falls, and I took some mini bulls out there and we did a special deal. And we took some elite riders out there, and Briar, my middle boy, he got on. He was little bitty then. He wasn't probably 6 or 7, and got on a mini bull, run out through there, and crashed into the shark cage out there. And he rode him off from that, and I mean the crowd went berserk.
Yep.
And I mean George Marshall come up to me. He goes, "This is the best thing I've seen since sliced bread, man. Can you come back? Can you keep coming back? Keep bringing this?" I said, hell yeah. And we did that for a while over there with him, just doing specials at some of his deals. And then, I mean, we only got to do 2 or 3, and then he unfortunately passed. But, yeah, that was the crowd reaction to that was crazy. They eat it up. And I don't know why sponsors don't get behind that and see that. That's just, it's crazy to me.
It's just we're not there yet. I think
a lot of
that's the deal.
sponsors just want to give, the youth items like a cooler
or
always. This or that, and it's like that doesn't pay the bills to go up and down the road.
That don't pay the fuel for the kids to get there, or the feed for the bulls, or pay the announcer to come announce the daggum thing, or the bullfighters to protect the kids.
Exactly.
There's a lot of other things that go into putting on a youth bull riding other than just showing up and popping gates.
Right.
Boy, and do we have a dime a dozen of bullfighters though?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I don't know that they're bullfighters. I think they're bull getting on the fencers. they're more like cheerleaders. They get up.
It's hard with the bullfighters too, hiring the right guy. Because
Yes. There's a difference.
There's plenty of quality out there. There's plenty of good bullfighters. But there's plenty of people that put on some baggies and paint their face up.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them that won't chase them kids. I mean, you walk trots out there, then you got this age group, and you got that age group, and then you got real bucking bulls. You got, you get up to the older age groups, you're taking hookings, the bullfighters are working.
To fight a mini bull deal is different than fighting a big bull deal. There is, and they would think, and I've seen bullfighters come in and say, they say, "Oh, this is going to be easy. I'm just fighting a bunch of mini bulls." No, they run their ass off.
Yep.
They're all over everywhere, and it's different, right? You don't go in for the big TV save, the highlight reel save on them. One bullfighter, they need to work in tandem, and one bullfighter comes in there, picks the kid up because they don't weigh 50 pounds, scoop him up so he don't get stomped, and the other one pulls the tail or gets the bull by the horns, and save the kid. This ain't, we're not doing a highlight reel. And I've had to choose some asses on some of them wannabes that do not get the concept of what we're trying to do here. They'll step on a kid to get the tail, to get the highlight reel. They'll step on him and push him under the bull just so they can get the tail and get that highlight reel or something they can put on social media when they're really there to protect the damn kid, man.
Yep. And that's what I got to brag on my guys. I mean, they come, and if a kid's having trouble,
all you do is brag, Blake.
If I was, I guess
single
them guys will get in the chutes with kids. Yeah. Push them kids. It's just they're just different.
It takes a different mindset.
And they're there for the kids, and they'll do whatever they have to do. They're one of my guys got on a bull to prove. He told a kid, he said, "You ride this bull, I will get on one and prove you."
Now, was that a mini bull?
He got on a full size bull.
Full size bull.
You dang right.
I wouldn't do that.
I mean, it just takes a different person. It's just
a different mindset.
Them guys are awesome.
It's no different with the producer or the announcer or any of it.
Right.
It's a different mindset to do a miniature bull ride.
Yeah, absolutely is. I agree totally.
We're going to step on a few toes here, but
okay.
We kind of talked about this in the previous podcast, but do you see parents living through their kids?
Absolutely.
That year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
More now this year than I've ever seen in years past. And I think it's because we have got out there enough that we've got green parents. Okay, they've always looked up to rodeo. They watched it on TV.
Maybe got on at the county fair.
Maybe got on a time or two, and so now they're pushing them kids.
They're professionals.
Yes,
they know it all.
They got it figured out.
This year, I've seen more of that than I have before.
What channel?
Pluto. Yeah,
you don't know. What channel's it on? We don't know.
I don't even know what time it comes on.
Yeah. But yes, I've seen that a bunch, that they're living through them kids, and there's some of them kids that don't. They're not. It's not in them. Hey, it is what it is, bro.
I've seen kids get they have talent, and their dads push them, or their parents push them too hard, and they get to where they hate it. They can't stand it.
Yep.
And that's what pisses me off, because that kid could have been a world champion, could have had a talent if you just built him up in confidence and let him want it. I mean, my boys, I don't enter them nowhere. If they want to go ride, they call and enter themselves. They ask and say, "Hey, can we go here?" Sure. You call and enter. You get in it. You do that. You here's my credit card. Go buy your membership. but they got to do it themselves. They got to put forth the effort. When they want to go get on practice bulls, I don't tell them, hey, we're going to go practice today. No, if they don't want to go practice, shit, I'd rather be on the fucking golf course anyway.
Yep.
I'm going to play some damn golf. I don't give a shit. I ain't got to buck them damn bulls and stand out in the heat and all that.
You don't like
I
to
love
sweat, do you?
bucking bulls. I love bucking bulls. I love it all, but I'm not pushing them boys.
They got to have the
They
hunger.
got to want it.
They got to have the hunger
That way
for it.
they never get burnt out on it, and they go at their own pace. Because let's face it, when they're the kid who won the YBR this year, I have no idea. Okay. That was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody knows. Nobody cares.
I've been
it's over and
nine
done,
more
man.
performances since then.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nobody cares until they're 18. It does not make a shit what they win or what they achieve. It only matters when they're 18. So a parent's job is to get that kid, keep that kid healthy, keep him with confidence and learning and getting on the appropriate stock and letting him move up that ladder to where when he turns 18, he's ready. He's got all the tools. He's healthy. He's ready to go down the road and go chase his dream then when it matters most.
Them parents that like he's talking about, them parents that I think that are living through their kids, I have no problem talking to them about it.
Oh, I don't
And I talk to them about it as it's like Little League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You start them kids off hitting a ball on a tee. Mm-hmm. Then they go to a coach pitch. Mm-hmm. Then they go to a
pitching
machine, and then they move up to a pitcher. And they, by the time that kid graduates, he's got a college opportunity. He can go to college and play Major League Baseball. I use baseball as that because that's the only thing I can really think of. And I went through that whole baseball deal. But that stepping stone, you got to do that in rodeo. By the time he gets ready to graduate high school, he can go on and play Major League Ball or whatever. Yeah. We're doing the exact same thing with these athletes, and they're athletes. Absolutely, we're doing the exact same thing with these young kids, and you can't push them too hard, but you need to push them just enough that they have the hunger and want it every single day.
Yeah.
And one thing that really bugs the heck out of me is the kids have a great time, have fun, but it's always the dang parents sometimes that they always have – you can never please nobody. There's always
can't please them all.
That bull's too ranked. What?
You can't please them all.
That bull didn't do enough, and it's just they chirp about it, and the kids are having fun. It's like just let it be, and let's move on.
If it was just you take the parents out of the equation, use the bull riding, it'd be easy and awesome because the kids are easy to make happy. It's the parents that's the problem.
Oh, the best mini bull riding in the world would be when the parents drop them off at the gate and come back in 2 hours to pick them up. It's the truth. I mean, and it's bad that it's like that, but them parents don't understand. And so, like me as an announcer and doing stuff with the Who Junior Patriot and all the stuff I do, you're educating parents, you're educating kids, but that's the role we accepted because they're kids. We're trying to prepare them up. We're passing down our wisdom. I mean, I'm not the best guy in the world. I don't know everything, nor does anybody else in this room.
Yeah.
But what I know and what you know and what Blake knows, what anybody else knows, if you tell them kids that, well, by the time they're 18, they've got it.
Right.
Because I've got different experience than Cody or you, Blake, or anybody else.
Right.
And so I have no problem telling them parents that and breaking it down and telling them how things need to go and where they need to head next and helping them kids out. But it is what it is. You
I
can't
think a
please them
gag
all.
order would be in place for some parents.
Yeah.
Just put a gag order on them. You're part of that group. You're in this room. Shut up. Yeah, because some of them, that's all they want to do is just run their mouth.
But I teach them. I treat them kids like they're mine. Every one of them. Yeah, and same to yours. You should see me around them.
Well,
I treat them like
get out of line, I give you full permission to put a boot in that ass.
Yeah, they get out of line, I get on to them, and I've earned respect from some of them kids. I've watched them kids move on.
Yeah.
I've watched some kids do some great things, and I mean,
and you've seen some parents run some kids.
Yeah.
You've seen both sides of it.
Both sides of it, and it's bad, but that's the society we live in now.
Yeah.
Everybody feels entitled.
Nobody wants to own up to any of their mistakes. Nobody.
It's never their fault.
It's always somebody else's fault. Well,
Always.
Yeah.
This pin of bulls is uneven. Somebody's always got something.
The worst cussing I've got in mini bull riding.
Was that in Vegas? IMBA finals?
Okay, the second worst. The second worst cussing I ever got.
Because it just dinged in my head. I was like, I know which one he's going there.
Crap, I forgot you were sitting in front of that. But no, it'd be the second one. And it was over. I didn't have rank enough stock. I mean, this dad went plumb ape crazy on me. his boy, he comes out there, he holds on to him too long, shoves him off the bull. So he's the one that made the buck off happen. And then he looks at me and says, "Your bulls suck." And what are you talking about? And then here come the F-bombs. He's freaking smooth out. It's like, dude, if you want rank or stock, take your kid somewhere else. Yeah. That bull did not buck him off. You shoved him off the bull. And I want fundamental style animals, you know?
Right.
And he didn't need to cuss. He didn't need to freak out. He was like, "Hey, man, you get a reride or whatever." If he'd have asked me, I'd probably gave him one. Told the judges, "Hey, just load him another one." You know, Dad pushed him off. It wasn't the kid's fault.
Yeah.
And gave him another one. But he wanted to show himself, and he's not come back.
Yeah.
He's not come back.
I don't blame him. That parents are the big problem.
Big problem. And they've not seen both sides of the fence. They're uneducated. It's not their fault, really. I mean, if you get down to it, it's not really their fault. They're uneducated because we get the game. We put them on. We produce them. We know how much money it costs and feed. And my gosh, I bought feed the other day. It went up another $60 a ton. Yeah. And it keeps going up and all the expenses we got. Well, I understand you got expenses. Yeah. But look at my expenses.
Yeah. Well, I can also tell you a lot of people, a big misperception is mini bulls eat less. Horse shit.
No. They eat more.
Wash. They eat more. Yep. Only thing different between a mini bull and a big bull is the mini bull have shorter legs.
Yes.
Yep. That's it. They still got the same appetite. They still eat the same amount.
And that's one thing that really bugs me is when we have to have meetings, when we go to World Finals with parents, don't be soaking the bulls in the alleyways. And it's not the kids doing it.
No, it's
the parents doing it.
Well, most of the kids can't pull the rope that tight to soak one.
Well, true.
The parents can.
And that just bugs me because it's like you don't realize what we have in these animals as a stock contractor.
But what they don't realize too is they're cheating themselves.
Yeah. They are.
I mean, they're screwing the bull over, but they're cheating themselves. You soak that sucker all the way up that buck and shoot, then you get in a buck and shoot, you're throwing a fit because he's laying down.
And they want to complain.
Yeah. Then they want to gripe because the bull's down there laying down.
And then he's 62 points when he does get out on him.
Why do you just jump kick down the pin? You told me you turned back. Well, loosen the dang rope up 10 slides back.
Yeah.
And that's just that just really eats
into me.
It shocked
me, a couple of years ago, we was at the WC finals down there, and I had bulls down there, and I'm speaking about one of my bulls getting soaked. I went back there 2 or 3 times, and I mean, the rope is just hocked off in this, and I had to climb up in the dad's ass and told him if I caught it doing it again, I had a pocket knife, and I was going to cut that kid's rope. I said, that's bullshit. And he played dumb like, oh, I didn't know it was that tight. Yep. Bullshit.
Yep.
Bullshit. You seen me loosen it off and check it. It just needs to be tied on to where it don't fall off. You don't have to hock it in them, you know? And the parents know. Some of them parents, they know what they're doing.
Some know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing.
You know? But if the ones that don't, once you educate them, it don't happen again.
And they watch.
Yeah.
Right. It don't happen again.
But this one,
this
one obviously knew what he was doing. And and I caught a couple of them a couple of years ago. But last year was better.
Yep.
There wasn't as many doing it. I mean, there were still a few, but it wasn't as bad because a couple of years ago, man, that was a big thing. Everybody, me and Blake was back there. And, I mean, we was loosening ropes off all the time. And I didn't want to be the big asshole and be jumping up and down parents' ass and all this shit all the time. But so we just finally got to just loosen them off and tie
Brandon
them up.
will. You know me. You heard me down there.
Yeah.
I catch you. I ain't asking. I'm cutting the rope. Yeah. I've already told you in the meeting. I've explained what's going on. There's your warning.
Yeah, and that's what it should be. If you get caught, then there's consequences.
Yep.
You better go find a bull rope store if you're going to get on tomorrow because this something's going to be cut.
That's just the thing that bothers me is that then when the bull gets up there and don't perform, they want to talk trash on your animal. Do you not feed this thing? Why has this thing not got no energy? No.
Well, we can talk about contractors not feeding their bulls and looking bad. That's another thing. Some of these contractors, there's people out there that shouldn't own fucking bulls.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's horrible. They don't feed them. They don't take care of them. And yet they want them to go show up and perform. And it's just pitiful. Man, if you can't afford them, don't buy the damn things.
Yep.
Well, guys, let's take a minute and listen to our great sponsors.
How about that? This episode of Beyond the Buckles is brought to you by our friends at Lorick Ranch Home Furnishings, Young Cattle Company, Sutherland Logistics, Off Our Rocker, Sunnyside Graphic Design, Cactus Rodeo, Print and Stitch Company, DEL Cattle Company, and Blake Skaggs Bucking Bulls. Something else that makes me mad is not feeding their damn bulls. There's a lot of mini bull contractors that think, it's going to be cheap. We're going to get in here and we're going to have mini bulls and it's going to be easy, and they don't feed the damn bulls.
No, there's so much work, and it's no different than owning big bulls or regular livestock or bucking horses or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a full-time job.
Yeah,
Full-time
I
job
don't
taking
give
care
a
of them.
crap if they're mini bulls or bushwhacker. You got to feed them. They're athletes. They got to perform. And if you don't feed them right, then they ain't going to perform. And then, especially in the mini bull world, you got, we're trying to get this out there and put out a positive look. But then you go to the WCMB finals or any other finals for that matter, and bulls in the back pens are fucking poor, and their hip bones are sticking out and their backbones, and you can count their ribs. And I'm like, this is not a good look.
That, and also when they're poor, it hurts when you freaking ride one like that. It hurts.
I knew we'd get Blaine to chime in.
knew it was
on that.
coming.
It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're getting pounded every time that bull kicks.
Yeah.
Riding the skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That old backbone there.
It freaking, you're all, and when you feed them, it helps. It don't hurt at all.
Kind of cushions that area a
Yeah,
little bit. Huh?
it does. It makes it feel better.
And I'm not saying, because it's hard to get some of them bulls, the mini bulls with the old
Yeah.
flat backs, I mean,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of money, but I'm talking, just feed them to keep them healthy.
Yeah.
They ain't got to be flat backs. They can
don't-
just,
yeah.
just have them healthy where you can't count their daggum ribs
Yeah.
or throw a ring around their hip bones, And I see that a lot. I see it in the WCMB. And
Saw it in there last year.
yeah, there's several of them that just need a lesson on feed programs. If you can't afford them, get the hell out. What are you doing? But speaking of WCMB, you're no longer with them.
No, sir. No, sir.
Why?
What in the world? Because we here Beyond the Buckles, we like to get behind the shit and see what went on and why, and let people know, because there's a lot of parents out there that's wondering, probably still wondering, why the hell ain't Brandon here?
I get 3 or 4 phone calls a week from parents asking me why I left. I said a little bit earlier, I never was going to be that parent. I was always against it. I wouldn't get mad and leave. And some things just wasn't headed down the right direction. I didn't feel that what I signed up for in the beginning was the result we were getting, and it was time to move on. And we started up that PYRA because I wanted to make sure I knew where everything was going, where the money was at,
So that was
what
the big
going on.
question with WCMB. It wasn't very transparent
At
of where
times.
everything was going,
At times, yes.
and it was more of a dictatorship.
At times, yes.
Yeah, and you wasn't the dictator.
And I wasn't the dictator. I was on the mic during the finals, but
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't headed down the road I thought it needed to go down.
right.
What we agreed to when we devised the WCMB. Of course, we left the IMBA and started up WCMB, and looking back, was that the right decision back then? Probably not. But in the same breath, it was at the moment.
You think you should have went with the IMBA instead of the WC?
Man, I don't know. It's just like we talk about it. There's too many associations out there, and there were some things happening then that just it happened, and
There was a lot of fishy shit going on back then. I mean, I was a part of it back in the IMBA days too. My boys, the 2 younger ones, was riding in it then, and there was some fishy stuff going on there with the IMBA, and then of course I liked the WC because it was going to stay more in the southern region.
Yeah.
I think the IMBA wanted to go further north.
Yep.
To Michigan, Idaho, all that up in there.
Staying up in there. And like I say, we started up the WCMB, and what we devised it on is not where it was headed to me. That was just my opinion. Everybody's got an opinion, and that was mine. And so I left and had no intentions of, I was selling out. You can ask Blake. When I left WCMB, I was talking about selling off the mini bulls. Of course, my wife ain't gonna sell no walk trots ever. But we're just gonna quit. I was just gonna be done. It was not what I wanted to do anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was not going down the road I thought the kids needed to be on.
Yeah.
And it was about a month, I guess, later. Some guys got together with me and was like, "Nah, no, we've got to start something else." And I told them then, I said, I've always said I will not be that parent or that contractor or that guy that gets pissed and leaves and starts a whole new association. I'm not going to do it. Well, I did it.
You did it.
And me and Jimmy Silva and Larry Allison kind of sit down and visit about it. And we don't have a board.
No.
It's 3 men and 3 wives. And it's all transparent. You can call me right now and you'll have to call Jo because she has the books on her at the moment. But I mean, she can tell you how much money's in the account, how much money's going here, what's this, what's that.
Yeah.
We didn't put a board together. We just put us three and made it work. And now we know exactly where everything's going.
You know, do you think there's a lot of associations and promoters that are in it for money versus the kids?
Absolutely. I think two things there. I think they can't afford to buy a big bucking bull, so they want to be a stock contractor really bad, and so they buy mini bulls. So that goes back to the feeding programs and stuff like that. They can't handle the big bulls, so they got to do the little bulls.
Yeah.
And I think they're in it because they think they can make money. When I started and bought mini bulls, there was one guy in my area that had them, and I bought up a handful of mini bulls, and right now there's probably, Blake, 10 between me and Blake's house, and we're 6 hours apart. You know, there's 10 guys bought up bulls, and backyard guys got 3 or 4, and this guy's got 10 or 12, and you know, and then they're mad because you don't let them bring them to the table. Let them bring to your event.
Everybody wants to haul them.
Yeah, but it's like
Nobody wants to put an event on, but they sure want to haul them to
they sure
yours.
want to haul them to yours,
And show up an hour before the show and leave right after the last bull bucks.
Throw
Yeah.
some flanks over
You know.
their shoulder and act like they're
but there's no money
HD
made.
Page or Chad Burger.
If you think there's money going to be made, you're in the wrong business.
wrong.
You know, somebody told me one time, he said, you want to make $1 million in the bucking bull world, start with 2. Start with 2 million.
Yeah, you're going to have
That's
to.
how you're going to have $1 million.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, you take out a little bit of sanctioning fees, and that goes to association. You take out some stock fee.
You gotta be able to feed the animals.
But
too.
the stock fee doesn't cover. Blake can attest to that. You can. You got many bulls too. You can test to that. That stock charge might buy this month's feed.
maybe.
And then next month, like July, let's take July. I had 0 events in July. My schedule's too full, and we had one rain out, which it was rained in July. But I mean, there was no money in.
Yeah.
Well, there ain't no money stacked up over there.
Yeah, but then
So that was
still
personal
eat.
money.
Them
Yeah,
bulls still eat.
personal money bought that. It doesn't pay for itself, so to speak. Now you do all right. I mean, it buys some feed and it buys a little hay and buys some little mineral
You
buckets.
better
but
be in it for the love of the sport because
Exactly.
you're not in it for the money. I promise.
no. I do all my other stuff for a living.
Yeah.
And it's not a hobby. A lot of people say, "Oh, you just do that mini bull deal for a hobby." Absolutely not. I do that because that is the future.
Yeah.
That is the future is why I do it. It ain't got nothing to do with money or any of that. I do it because I want to
for the
pass
sport.
down when I die. I want my grandkids to be able to rodeo.
Well, if you want your announcer, if you want a job in 15, 20 years, we better start growing some kids.
Exactly.
And to have that future,
Exactly.
for you to have a job, have somebody to announce at them rodeos.
It comes
Without
down
the
to
contestants, there's
the
no
riders are the event. Like if you don't have riders, you don't have an event.
Yeah. If you don't have producers that want to buy stock and invest, if you don't have riders, you don't have nothing else. You have nothing else. Without a stock contractor and a rider, you have 0 events.
there's no product.
No
Not a
product.
product at all.
Your sponsors are gone. There's nothing. It's over with.
Yeah. Man, that board thing with the WC deal, I think, and you being the vice president, I think that the stock contractors should be able to vote in who needs to be in there on that board instead of it dictated from the board who they want on the board.
Exactly.
You know, it should be a group of your association. I think they should pay their entry.
You look at any other association in the business.
Yeah.
PRCA, PYRA, Arkansas Rodeo, Kansas, that. You look at any of the rest of them, you're voted on by the membership.
Yeah.
It's how you get into those positions. I have yet to find, including ours, because like I say, we don't have a board. We just got 3 families that love it.
Yeah.
But they come up with a board, they put them in there, and only if someone quits or leaves or passes away.
Yeah. Then
do
the board themselves
Then the
pick.
boards will say, okay, well, send me some names, and they'll go through there and pick some names. Blake's tried to get on the board as long as I've known
tried
him.
plumb back since in the IMBA days and tried to get on there, and I don't get on there.
It's
Like this year in the WCMB, I brought up on the riders, or on the, not the riders, but the stock contractors call, hey, I want to be a part of this. I think we need a new guy picking bulls for the finals. I think it should be a committee 4 or 5 guys picking bulls to go to the final, so there's better stock. And maybe you don't see them poor suckers there no more. You've got to send recent pictures and help sell a better product. And I ain't got a phone call. I still ain't got a phone call. I don't even want to be on the board no more. Yeah. I don't really believe in what they're doing. But
if we was to turn PYRA into a board, I'd still be a part of it, but I wouldn't. I don't want to go back into that board position no more. IMBA as vice president, WCMBI as vice president, and the vice president, me being the announcer, I got all the complaints. I had to be the enforcer. I mean, like last year, the finals, I was the principal. I mean,
where was the president?
Had to go to the office, and I don't know. I was up there doing my thing.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
but and it got to the point that it wasn't causing trouble at home, but I mean, I'd go home and gripe to my wife. Every time I come home from the finals or these events or that event, it's like, dude, I'm tired of being the bad guy every single time.
Yeah.
But after that, leaving that all behind me and going this year, there was a kid I had to disqualify last year for some stuff, and I got to watch him get baptized, and I got to watch him and cheer him on last week at YBR. We're all buddies. I earned the respect because I was the bad guy.
Yeah.
But a rule's a rule's a rule. Ain't no different at home.
You live by the rules, you die by the rules, man.
They can do what they want. If you act up my house, you're still getting a belt across your butt. It worked for me. It's going to work for the next 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that never gets old. And you can ask the boys there, ask Blaine there. If he gets in trouble, it's ass whooping. They don't outgrow ass whoopings at my house. But I hadn't had to give them too much. They're pretty good boys. Sometimes. Yeah.
When's the last time you got one, Blaine?
The day before yesterday, probably.
That's why it's sitting funny.
He's had so many now, I can just give him that look. Yeah. He knows old shit.
I hate getting that look from my mom.
Right?
Scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's a problem in all the junior deals is people get in there and they get kind of one-sided.
Well, they get greedy too.
Yeah,
it's like greedy. The boards, they pick people that will benefit them and not the association and the riders and the parents.
Yeah.
There's no voice for the parents on the board. There's no
voice for the riders,
no voice for the stock contractors. I mean, I fought the most. We started a sanctioning fee deal. It kind of caught some flack over that. And once I explained what the sanctioning fee was for, then they was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's to help them guys. I mean, we had guys bring bulls from Florida, Tennessee, and come from all across the country to Fort Worth or to Mesquite. And, I mean, that's a long ways for your $20 an out or $30 or $40 an out,
Yeah.
And so that sanctioning fee was to help that. And so once we explained it and educated those people, they understood it. But that's the biggest thing I see. And it don't matter if it's PRCA to PBR to, the different associations. You'll always have some that's got their blinders up, and got their own agendas. I hate politics, and that's the problem. It's sometimes politics gets in the way.
Unfortunately, politics are in every aspect of every sport or every way of life.
Yep.
You can't get rid of it.
No.
And I hate politics. I can't stand it. I hate it more than anything. Man, it's something we got to deal with. It's a sad future, and youth rodeo. What's the future for? Is it good? Is it bright?
I think it's bright. I think it's all headed down the right path. I think we're moving in the right direction. We have got in front of some people that kind of jumping on the bandwagon now. The Who Junior Patriot, the first couple of years was kind of rocky and rough, and I tell it how it is, and I mean you can call Kevin Hall right now. He says, "Oh, Brandon will tell you straight up," and I think with the Patriot stuff and the this stuff and Huey's on board with the Huey stuff, and it's all slowly. Yeah, it's just going slower than I want it to go.
Right.
I'm
impatient.
Everybody tells me I don't have very good patience.
I don't either. I want it right now.
But it's moving in the right direction because the right people are jumping on board. The right
and I
people
like the way
are starting to come in.
They're bringing in some bigger sponsors and getting it out in front of people. Do they televise that?
No.
Why not?
We've got some. Well, let me rephrase that. Yes, last year we did do the Who Junior Patriot on the Cowgirl channel and the new channel they have.
Yeah.
But it was the time event side of things. Because there's no way. I mean, if you've ever been there the second week of the Patriot, there's no way we could facilitate bulls in amongst the whole everything else going on.
Right.
And it's too hard to facilitate them kids to come back. I've had a lot of parents, well, man, them kids get to come next week and be on TV. I mean, if you've been there, every stall, every pen, everything that happens the second week is full. We've been working on that. Me and Kevin's racking our brains trying to figure some things out to bring them to the table, the rough stock kids. But it was on there. The time
it needs
events,
to be a separate deal. I mean,
the time events got to be there.
They can timed event, show the timed event the next week.
Exactly.
And then, but the first week they can air the rough stock.
and
It's just like the high school finals
Yep.
or whatever they show. They'll show 3 events one week, and then they'll show the next 3 events the next week.
And that's what we're working towards. So hopefully that comes into play next year at Fort Worth. We're working on Vegas right now with the Hui Junior Patriot. It gives them kids the opportunity to go out there as well.
Yeah.
There's already the Yeti World Final still going on out there. It gives them kids one more opportunity.
Yeah.
And my deal, me personally, I'm all about the opportunity. The more we give these kids, the more opportunities we give them, the better the sport's going to be in the long run.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so
Absolutely.
slowly we're gathering up the right people, getting on the bandwagon to push them kids. And I think the future is really bright when it comes to youth rodeo.
I wish you'd work just a little harder.
Well, I'm working as fast as I can work, buddy.
I'm proud of you.
You see the gray hair and the mustache, right?
Yeah,
He's getting
I
old.
didn't have any gray in this mustache until I started doing junior rodeo.
Yeah.
Getting old on us.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, I think it's been a good episode here, and I'm glad you come on. I'm glad we worked.
appreciate it.
We talked a lot about the old youth stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's good seeing you, buddy.
Good seeing you guys.
I'm
as well.
telling you, I'm glad you on, and we'll have to have you back.
I'll come back anytime.
Man, I like it. Hey guys, if y'all like this episode of Beyond the Buckles, make sure you go to our Facebook page, Instagram page. Give us a like, give us a listen. Go to YouTube, follow us, subscribe, Spotify, Apple. We're on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to follow us. That helps us out and keeps us bringing these great episodes like today with Brandon Wren. Until next time, keep your rosin hot, and we'll see you then.